Hello, I am Kyle Petty, and I am back with another episode of The Kyle Petty Show, a podcast for Long Island theater. This time around, I had the pleasure of chatting with ARIANN HUETHER, who is currently music directing Into the Woods over at Star Playhouse in Commack. I had the pleasure of going to the Saturday, May 11th performance at 8 p.m. and had a wonderful time. And I implore you to go down and see it either on the 18th or the 19th. Only two performances left. Super exclusive run. You will not be disappointed. So go down, check them out. Support live theater here on Long Island. And in the meantime, enjoy my conversation with Ari. Welcome back to the Kyle Petty Show. I am Kyle Petty, and this is a podcast for Long Island theater. This time, I am fortunate enough to be chatting with Ari HUETHER, who is the music director for Into the Woods at Star Playhouse, which is opening this Saturday, May 11th, and running for an additional weekend, right? That closes on the 19th, is it?
Yes, that's right.
Wow, I got my dates right. I'm getting better at this. So welcome. Thanks for hanging out with me.
I'm happy to be here. It's good to see your face.
It's good to see yours. It's been a very, very long time. I can't wait
know.
to see the show and actually get to see you in person, and
Yes.
like just give you all the hugs. Yes. Because it's been a long time. How long have we known each other now?
Gosh.
Oh geez. Because I mean those are during the cap days.
Yeah. I mean it's
yeah.
Can I say close to 20 years? Can I say that?
Oh.
I mean, it's got to be close to it.
I would say probably closer to 15, but yeah, I would say up there. Because
when did we do A New Brain?
A New Brain.
That
was.
I mean, I know
definitely
we
after 2010.
Then, but...
It could have been 2012.
Okay, but I know we knew each other.
Oh wow, then I guess it is really fun. Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Oh my.
This is this is how long we've known each other, and this is how old we are, Kyle.
Right. I mean, I'm happy to say we're getting older, but I'm not happy to say that we're getting older, right? I don't like the alternative.
Yeah, well, exactly.
Right. So, for people who are not familiar with you, introduce yourself to everybody. Who's Ari?
So I am ARIANN HUETHER. I started in Long Island theater as an actor and sort of made my way into the behind the scenes music aspect. I am a trained musician and singer. And so that was sort of an easy transition for me, going from being on stage to being off stage. And I really discovered that I loved music directing so much that I started pursuing it a little more fervently than doing the onstage stuff. So, yeah, and I'm loving it.
Yeah, it's been quite the pivot for you.
It has, right?
Yeah. When was the last time you were on stage as a performer?
One of the last things that I did was 5 years ago.
Ooh,
at
wow.
Star Playhouse, where I'm music directing Into the Woods now, in Mamma Mia, back in 2019.
It's pre-COVID.
That
feels like a whole separate life.
Doesn't it?
Yeah, I feel like I've been like three separate people since like COVID.
Right?
Yeah.
I know. It's crazy.
It is.
And it really is. It's like it's we talk about things so casually, like pre-shutdown and post-shutdown. But yeah, the world did change.
Everything changed.
Yeah.
So did you prepare 2 truths and a lie for us?
2 truths and a lie. Yes. Sure did.
Specifically, 2 truths and 1 lie.
Yeah.
Not like our friend Ryan. All right, so I'm going to write them down so I can keep. We love you.
But I did get 2 truths, not 2 lies.
Yes, we did it correctly. All right, so what do you have?
Okay, so my first statement is that that my husband and I have 4 cats.
Okay, that's very possible. Okay, number 2.
My second thing is that my favorite band is The Who, which I thought kind of appropriate since Tommy is back on Broadway now.
Excellent.
And my third one, sort of staying in the performing arts vein, is that I never started out in life as a musician. I studied ballet for 13 years and planned on pursuing ballet professionally, and then pivoted, if you will, into music.
Wow. Okay, so number one, your husband and you. I was gonna say your husband and I. You and your
Oh,
husband. There we go.
okay.
You and your
Well,
husband.
that's a conversation I need to have with Ed Huther.
No, it's not. No, it's not. Everything is fine. Um, you have 4 cats.
We do.
Number two, your favorite band is The Who. I like that
Hmm.
that was two in Who. That's very fun to me. I like the rhyming. And then number three, you studied ballet. What was that for 16 years? You said
13 years.
13 years.
Yeah.
Oof. Um, we definitely know you have cats. Now, the question here is whether or not is it 4. See that these numbered ones are very tricky. It could be 3, could be 5. What do I know? Um, your favorite band is The Who. I believe that. I believe that's probably so. And studied ballet. I'm gonna say maybe you don't have 4 cats. Maybe it's 3 or 5.
Okay.
I'm gonna say
Okay.
that is the lie.
That is the lie.
Wow! All right.
No, that is not the
Wait,
lie.
oh,
That is not. I do have 4 cats.
you just
I
said
do.
that is
I
not
absolutely
the.
have. Sorry, I was echoing what you were saying. No, I do have 4 cats. Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
wow. That was even meaner than setting me up to fail.
No,
That
don't
was
say
telling me I got it right and then taking it back
that.
immediately. That will now go down as the cruelest.
Lulling you into a false
Yes.
sense of security.
That's sick. So then what is the lie? Maybe you didn't study ballet.
I did study ballet for 13 years.
The one thing I was super sure on. So the hell with The Who, huh?
I like The Who. The Who is actually one of Ed's favorite bands. Mine is the Beatles. I'm a
Okay.
huge Beatles
Mm,
fan.
that seems to ring some bells. I feel like I have heard that before.
But I will say one of our 4 cats
Hmm.
is named for a Who song. His name is Happy Jack, which is for the Who song Happy Jack. So
All right.
so there is a tie in there, but yeah.
All right. Well, thank you to The Who for naming our cat. Awesome. So that's all right. So another L for Kyle. That's okay.
Aw.
That's all right. That's all right. We'll get some someday. But so Into the Woods.
Yeah.
Obviously famous story, but a lot of people don't know it, surprisingly enough.
Yeah.
Even after Disney made it into a musical with what Meryl Streep. We had like really like legit people in there. Anna
Right.
Kendrick,
Yeah.
James Corden was in that. What's that
Yep.
other young lady's name? Emily. No, and
Yes, Emily Blunt.
oh,
Yes, Emily Blunt. Yep.
yes, I was gonna say Emily Hathaway. I'm like, that doesn't sound right. I'm like, and it definitely wasn't Anne, so it can't be Hathaway. I'm like, so then what is it? What is this? Yes, Disney made this into a movie musical, which I actually thought was really fantastic. Like, I
I
really
liked it.
enjoyed it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So for those people out there who don't know what Into the Woods is, tell us, like, how would you summarize this story?
Oof. Okay, so Into the Woods is the story of 2 characters, 2 fictional characters, a baker and his wife, who encounter these Grimm's fairy tale characters in their quest to have a child. They have been cursed. The baker and his family have been cursed by a witch. Of course, they have. And the witch sends them on this mission to obtain a certain specific objects, and those certain specific objects will lead to the end of the curse, and they will be able to have a baby. And so when they go out into the woods to go in search of these objects, they encounter a number of fairy tale characters: Cinderella, Jack from Jack and the Beanstalk, Little Red Riding Hood. And so they have to engage with these characters to get the things that they need to get the thing that they need.
Right. That's a fantastic summary. And the music is by Stephen Sondheim, which
Yes.
I mean, obviously, like very, very challenging, but very, very good. I
Yeah.
don't think there's a bad, actually, there is one clunker in there for me, but I don't want to get canceled because no one else would consider it a clunker. It's only me. And maybe it's because it's at the end. What is that song? Is it No More?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Where's
I
in
just feel like it's such a dirge.
Well, there's okay. So I shouldn't say this, but but we're friends, and
Right.
so
It's a casual conversation.
there are two sort of power ballads that happen at the end of the show, and you've gone on this journey with all these characters, and now you have to have these sort of two really heavy songs, and it's a lot. It's I think it's a lot for an audience member, because it's toward the end of Act Two. These two songs, No More and No One Is Alone, but they're so important to the development of the
very
character
much so.
that they have to be there. They have to be there. And it's going back to the film, the Disney film. No More was cut from the film.
I didn't notice.
A lot of people didn't notice.
Yeah.
A lot of people didn't notice, and I was one of those that said, "Oh, I wish I would have loved to have heard James Corden sing it. I think he would have been brilliant singing it." But I also understand for exactly what we're talking about, for time. And in film, you can, say something in 3 lines that in musical theater, it's going to take you a 3-minute song to put across. So.
But I mean, it is good for it to be in there for the story's sake. Like
Yes.
it brings everything together. So it's not a throwaway song. It's just like,
not at all.
Okay, all right.
And it's a really beautiful song. And the song is actually a duet between the baker and we're going to call him the Mysterious Man, so that if there's anybody who's not so familiar with the show,
right,
that you find out who the Mysterious Man is. But this is a duet for those two characters, and it's one of those things where we've all had that situation where maybe somebody, I'm going to sort of bring this down a little bit, but say somebody passes away and you think, oh, if I only had another minute with them, what would I say to them? And this is the baker's opportunity to say to the Mysterious Man the thing that he never got to say that he wanted to say, and that lets him sort of have his moment, if you will.
Right. You navigated through that very nicely without being a spoiler. I was like, I'd like to see how she does this. That was good. That was great. Have you ever been in Into the Woods yourself?
This production is my 5th go around with Into the Woods.
Oh, wow.
It's my second time music directing it. It's my second time music directing it, but my first time music directing a main stage. I have music directed a junior production, which is basically Act 1.
Yeah.
But yeah, I the very first time I was in a production of Into the Woods was, gosh, back in 1990, at the Grey Wig at Hofstra.
Grey Wig.
Yep. And I was a voice. I was voicing Cinderella's mother. And the funny thing there was that Cinderella's mother is usually done in conjunction with Little Red Riding Hood's grandmother, and then a third voiceover that you never see the character, but it's a voiceover that happens in Act 2. They didn't do that. I was just the voice of Cinderella's mother, so I only had to sing in Act 1. And then this is not giving anything away, because we all know the story of Cinderella, so her mother has already died. And so it's just a voice, and I was backlit, so you never saw me. But they wanted me to come out for the Act 1 finale as like in costume. And so I came out, and people in the audience were like, "Who's that?
Who is that?" But stage manager is awful dressed up.
Are they taking random people out of the audience?
Exactly. What is this? How do I get up there?
But so then a year or so later, I got to play Cinderella in a production, in my first production at CAP, at the OG CAP Center.
So you're talking about, this was CAP Bethpage.
CAP Bethpage.
Yes.
Yep. And then I played the baker's wife at the Merrick Theater back in around 2014-ish. Oh gosh, that was 10 years ago. Holy jeez. And then I music directed, again, a junior version, and now this one. So I feel like The maybe intimate understanding that I have of the show and the characters and the character development has helped me be a better musical director, because I've been able to guide the actors as best I can vocally, but as actors. So it's not
Right.
just sing this note, sing it at this time, sing it at that time, which is in any Sondheim show a bit of a beast. But in a show like Into the Woods, where there's so much really beautiful, rich, deep character development that happens through the music that kind of
Right.
nobody really thinks about. The fact that I can come into this as a musical director, but as an actor first, I hope, has given me some better insight into how to treat the show musically and how to guide the actors through their roles.
Right, because you've had both experiences.
Yeah.
You previously music directed the show and you've been in it. So you have a definitely have a more intimate understanding of like
Yeah.
the
Yep.
storyline and the characters and how everyone relates to each other.
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah.
important in a show like this because it's really all about the characters. Like the plot is important, obviously, but it's really about how the characters kind of mix with each other and get on.
Yes. Yes. And I'm so glad that you said that, because at my first rehearsal with the cast, that's almost exactly what I said to them. I said, this is a show about relationships.
Yeah.
And as you go on in your adult relationships, you understand the nuances of these characters even better, because it's parent-child relationships, as a parent and a young child, and as a parent as an adult child. It's obviously it's love relationships, it's friendship relationships, it's chosen family relationships, and for all of those things to evolve in the span of a 2 hour, 2.5 hour show speaks to, I think, Stephen Sondheim's brilliance.
Absolutely. That
Yeah.
couldn't be better said. And just talking about it like this makes me so much more excited to like that come see it now. Just watching it with that lens too. You're not just sitting down just to watch an enjoyable story. Like I want to watch those relationships develop and change.
Yeah.
Yeah, that it's exciting. Oh, yay.
Cool.
Yeah. So what made you interested in using music directing this for like a second time now?
Well, I mean, obviously, jumping into a fifth production, I have to really love the show.
Right.
And I
Yeah.
do really love the show. I mean, I am a Sondheim fan to begin with, but this production has always been dear to my heart. I think for so many of us, it was the first Broadway show that I saw on TV. I saw it on PBS, the original '87 production. It was the first time I saw a Broadway show on TV, and I was just completely entranced. And I wanted to be Cinderella, of course. Um, so I can't imagine anybody ever coming to me, and please don't anyone test me on this, but I can't imagine anybody coming to me and saying, would you be a part of this production of Into the Woods in any way, shape, or form, and me saying no, because I love the show that much. But the other added bonus is that my dear friend Matt Stashin is the director of the show. And
It
Maddie and
certainly
I
helps.
also have a long history of collaboration together.
Right.
This has got to be the seventh or eighth show that he and
Oh,
I have teamed up as director and musical director. So
nice.
knowing that I'm already going to be paired up with a director who I understand, he understands me, we have a great way of working together. We sort of answer each other's questions before they're even asked. There's a great flow between us, and we've been friends for so long. He's like my brother. So yeah, getting to work with Matt on this project just made it even better.
I love that. Oh, good, good. What is the most challenging song to conduct?
Oof, oof. It's funny. The most challenging song to conduct is not necessarily the most challenging song to sing or to play. I think the actors in the pit will tell you that the song Your Fault, because it's very, very fast, and
Mhm.
it's very chromatic. So it's all going up and down by half steps here and there, and you kind of can't miss a note singing or playing it. So I know that the pit hates that song. But I think interestingly, and I'm going to go back to the Cinderella character, because on the steps of the palace, as I dug into the music, and again, sort of wanting to bring the character out through the music, the whole song is about her trying to make a decision, not being able to make a decision, ultimately choosing not to make a decision and that being her decision. But the meter of the song, even though it's not necessarily written this way, goes back between, and I'm going to put the sort of the music nerd hat on for a second. It goes back and forth between what we would call duple and triple meter. So it's you either feel it in 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, or you're feeling it 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and so I conduct it that way. I choose to conduct it that way because the pit then follows me in playing the meter the way I would like to have it played. And I can tell you, when we had our first rehearsal, they looked at me, they're like, "What are you doing? Why, what are you doing?" And so I had to explain to the pit, well, in this section, she's kind of contemplating this, and in this section she's kind of contemplating that, and I want to bring it out, and so I want to emphasize sort of the feel of the meter change in there.
Right.
Once I explained it to them, they were like, "Oh, okay, cool, great, moving on."
We're on board.
Yeah. But I made the joke on social media a couple of days ago. I haven't used this many colored pencils since I was in grade school, because I have marked up my score with, and this is sort of conducting 101, is that you mark a certain color for tempo changes. You mark a certain color for dynamic changes. If there's anything important that I want to stress, I mark it in a different color. So, my whole score looks like a rainbow threw up all over it.
Now, do you use the same colors every time you music direct and you have to do this? Because I would start forgetting what color was related to what. Like, do you have like a legend on the bottom? Like, okay, so green, it means this. Like, how do you remember
right,
all
green
those?
means go, red means stop, right?
Right.
Yeah, no, I actually do. So I
Good.
So that for me, I instantly
Makes
look
sense
down.
to you.
Exactly.
Right,
And I know
right.
exactly what I'm looking at. And I have little symbols, if I'm conducting something in 4/4 time, if I'm conducting something in 3/4 time, I have a little symbol that tells me, oh, I'm going to change here, I'm going to move to this. And yeah.
So sorry to the person if they have to now fill in for you because you can't make a performance. Like, here's your book. Like, good luck with all
It's
these
so true.
markings.
I did that once. On the flip side, I did that once for a show that you were in.
Is that Sister
For
Act?
Sister Act. Yes,
That's what made me
I
think
filled
of it.
in for Matsurico for a weekend conducting the pit, and I don't remember what the song was, but I don't know what the hell I was thinking. I had a different feel for the song, and I said to the pit, I want to take this a little faster. Oh, no, it was the closing. It was your last song.
Oh, I remember there was a performance. Our arms are going like this, is going absolutely crazy. And I was like, what is happening today?
I conducted it 3 times faster than what you guys were used to doing. But the pit just went with me. They were great.
Well, at least they went with you. I know I was winded. I was like, well, I'm just not singing today. So I can just get to where I'm supposed to be and not be in some smaller person's way.
I learned never to do that again.
That's hysterical. Now your pit for Into the Woods is actually rather large, like for Long Island theater standards, right? How many did you say was 10 people?
We have 10 people. Yeah.
That's huge, huge.
Yep.
What do you have in there?
So we have 2 keyboards. We have a clarinet, bassoon,
Wow.
trumpet.
Come on, woodwinds.
Right? Clarinet, bassoon, trumpet, flute, violin, cello, bass, and percussion. And our percussionist brought a whole setup. It's not just a drum kit. He's not a drummer, he's a percussionist. So he brought his whole percussion set with him. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
he had to come
exciting.
in. When he came in to set up, he came in 2 hours before rehearsal to load in and set everything up. I mean, I felt a little bit guilty. Here I am with my keyboard. Dink. Okay,
Dink,
plug it in.
I'm done. Where's that? Are you guys ready?
Right.
No, he's not doing that every single night, right? He can leave this kit
Oh no,
there.
yeah, he set it up once and
Oh,
it lives
good.
there. Yeah.
It's like, my goodness.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. No, hopefully that can all stay good. Is there a song that was a little bit more challenging to teach than another?
Honestly, the opening number,
Oh,
because it's everybody, and you're establishing who these characters are, both musically and from the actor's standpoint, pretty immediately.
yes.
Yeah.
And
So,
it's long.
and it's long. It's in 9 parts. And
Yes.
yeah, it is the opening that never ends.
Truly. I know when I first did it, it's like, wait, this is all one song? Like, we didn't actually stop. And it's like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's a lot
In my
happening then.
score, it is 62 pages. And
Wow.
that's just the opening number. Yeah, the entire conductor's score is over 400 pages.
Jeez.
It just goes on forever.
Yeah, like people are still coming in, rustling their Twizzlers,
You're right.
and like, and you're still in the opening. Oh, it was just page 41.
Right.
Yeah, that's
but
wild.
but the great thing is that it really does introduce and establish every single character
Yeah.
that you need to know. So by the time you're done with the opening, you have met everybody you're going to meet in
Yep.
this show. There's not going to be any like bonus characters. Like you have met everybody you're going to meet.
Bonus characters. Right. That is everyone. Awesome. Do you have a favorite moment in the show?
Oh, I have so many favorite moments in the show. Um, um, well, I'm actually, and you'll have to forgive me. I'm going to go back to No More because it's the Danny Sussman is playing the baker and J.R. Latito is playing the mysterious man, and the two
Mm,
of them have just this really, really beautiful dynamic together, and they play off of each other so well. So when we get to that point, that moment in the show, um, it's again without sort of giving anything away, it's a real release, and
mm.
I love hearing them sing it because they both have gorgeous voices, and I love hearing them sing it. Yeah, yeah. um but if I had another favorite moment in the show, it would have to be Last Midnight, the sort of the witches big
Yes,
big number, and Shayna Stroh, who is an absolute powerhouse,
she is.
She is so phenomenal as our witch. We are so fortunate. She moved off of the island for a while. She walked into the audition. I was like, wait a minute. I thought
Yeah, I didn't know she was
she's back
back.
now. She's
Yeah.
like, I'm back. And honestly, from the minute that she opened her mouth in the first audition, Matt and I kind of looked at each other and we were like,
Done.
it's gonna be hard to top this.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she has brought it to every single rehearsal. And last night in dress rehearsal, she commands the stage, and her voice is so gorgeous. It just draws you in. It can't help but draw you
Oh,
in.
I can't
Yeah,
wait.
yeah.
Awesome. Okay, good, good. Now, of the shows that you performed in, because again, you've been in theater for quite some time now.
A minute maybe.
What would you say is your favorite or top three like shows
Mm.
that you've been in?
Okay. Well, I mean, I sort of have to stick with the theme here and say Into the Woods.
So woods.
And really, I think when I played Cinderella
Okay.
at CAP the first time, it was my first time working at that theater. I was directed by a dear friend of mine, the late John Gradesky, and he just created this really beautiful atmosphere for everyone in the cast. And I loved going to rehearsals, and I loved being a part of it. That's definitely a favorite. But also sticking in the Sondheim theme, I played the beggar woman in a production of Sweeney Todd, and I don't think I've ever had so much fun being a crazy person in my life. It was great. It was great
Nice.
because there's sort of, when you're playing, that nutty character, there's really no boundary that you can't cross. There's
Right.
and
Yeah.
if I can just, I'll share a quick story from that production. Um, the guy who was, I think he was like 15 or 16 at the time, playing Toby. Top of Act 2, God That's Good, and there are 3 points in the number where the beggar woman goes to try to steal one of the meat pies, and the Mrs. Lovett, gets Toby to shoo her out of the way. And the third time, my character was actually going to get the meat pie and eat it. And so we did that. I think it was, I want to say it was like dress rehearsal. I grabbed the meat pie. Toby comes with like the meat cleaver to like get me out of the way. And I just instinctively, I was like, she's a homeless person. And in my mind, she's a crazy homeless person. And what do crazy homeless people eat like? They eat like squirrels. So I grab this meat pie. I'm eating it like this. I see him out of the corner of my eye come at me with the meat cleaver, and I went, bang! And meat pie completely went out of my mouth into his mouth.
Oh my God.
Oh, yes.
Oh.
Well, and I was mortified because he's a teenager. Like, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm never going to be able to do this again. I run off stage. They finish the number. He comes off. I'm profusely apologizing to him. I was like, I will never do that again. I will never. I will aim down at your feet, or I will never do that again. And he looks at me and he goes, why? That was great. And I was like, no, that was like Mama Bird feeding
right.
me.
That was...
He was like, no, I was fine with it. I was like, can I do it again?
Or can we just make sure your mouth is closed? Like, I don't... Yes.
It became like, like throwing darts each night. It was like, can I get the bullseye? Can I like get the food in his mouth?
Oh my God. Oh, I would be so upset. Like, I don't even think that I would have been able to hide it on stage. Like, I would have lost my mind. I would have immediately forgotten where I was.
Right?
Yeah. Oh no, definitely would not have flown with me. But good. Glad he was a good sport. That's wild.
And I'm just going to quickly give you a third one, because I think one of my third favorites, and I'm just going in the musical theater vein, would be the production of A New Brain that you and I worked on
thank goodness.
together.
I was going to say, how dare you not mention A New Brains? I thought that is definitely one of my top 3.
Well, but again, sort of for the reasons that I love Sondheim's composing, because it's so intricate and juicy and dirty and gritty. I also love Bill Finn's music for a lot of those same reasons, and getting to sing a song all together with a small cast, like, and they're off when everybody's singing a different harmony and it all comes together and it's kind of jazzy and crunchy. Yes. And delicious. I loved it.
I am dying to have an opportunity to do that show again. Like, I keep walking around. I'm like, can anyone do A New Brain, please? Anyone thinking about it, please? Just someplace to have another stab at that. Yeah.
Theater folks, I would like to get back on stage in a production of A New Brain. Please, somebody make it happen.
Me too, please. Begging. I tried with Jeff Sanzel. Yes. I tried with Jeff Sanzel over at Theater 3, and he was like, absolutely not. No. It won't. He's like, a beautiful show, won't sell. And it's like, no, but it might. It might.
Yeah. It might. It might, but I think there's not enough name recognition.
I know.
It would be a great sort of industry show, like if any theater wanted to sort of do something like what Encores does in the city, and like, bring it back for something like that. That would be great. But yeah, audiences and the audiences that know Bill Finn's stuff really probably just know falsettos, and if they're not into that, they might assume that they're not into this, even though it is a
completely different thing. Yeah. And for that matter, I mean, if we're going to talk about William Finn, like Spelling Bee, Justice for Spelling Bee,
Yes.
I love that show. It had its heyday a little bit on Long Island. Like a couple of theaters did it, and I think that no one's ever going to do it again. Like I just feel like it's over.
Well, don't say that, because we thought that, like, oh, nobody's doing Into the Woods now, and we are the first of two theaters to be doing them back to back. I mean, we're opening ours this weekend, and then there's another production out in Elmont that opens next weekend.
Oh,
And
really?
they're both big, full-scale shows.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So never
And
say
if
never.
I might just add, also music directed by a female. Karen Yelani is the music
Oh,
director for that particular production. And if there's one thing that I would love to promote, it's having women in music direction
sure.
more.
Let's hear it for the
And that's,
girls.
yeah, please. I
Yes.
mean, I'm not taking anything away from. I have worked with a number of
No,
brilliant
of course
men
not.
as musical directors, but there are also some equally brilliant women out there, and I think that they should be given some more opportunities.
Yeah, we
So
like that.
there's my soapbox moment. Also,
No,
after May 19th, I need another job. So
right. So please remember the fact that I am female. I am very talented. Thank you very much. Oh, that's funny because that does bring us to our next thing. So what is next for you? So I guess we don't know yet, huh?
honestly, next is a well-deserved break
Mm,
for a little while. I've been on the go working almost 7 days a week since January, so
7 days.
I'm ready to take a break and sit out on the deck and have a cocktail and go to the beach and get into my waterside dining adventures, which I think are pretty well documented now on social media. That Ed and I love doing in the summertime. So
Yeah, you had
yeah,
mentioned that before we started recording. Tell us a little bit about that. Because you started a Facebook group. Is that what you said?
so we're on Facebook and we're on
Mhm.
Instagram. It
Mm,
is Long Island Waterside Dining Guide.
mm.
And yeah, it was really sort of born organically out of when we were dating. Ed and I, we would just sort of post photos of, like, oh, we're here at this place and we're having cocktails and we're laughing and ha ha ha, and look at the good time that we're having. But people, we would run into people and they would be like, I'm living so vicariously through you. Where are all these great places that you go to eat? And oh, tell me about this cocktail that you had. And it just sort of
Happened organically.
snowballed, and we thought, well, let's just because in fairness, like, I also had a fair amount of people who were like, don't you think you're drinking too much? Don't you think you're putting that on social media too much? And I
Oh
thought,
my
well,
gosh. And I
okay, so
remember this period. It couldn't have been more than once a week, maybe
right,
twice.
right.
Like,
Well, I mean,
all right.
we were, yeah, exactly.
Like,
Exactly.
what is
But
that?
then,
Like,
of course, then, like, the wedding came, and people were seeing, like, wedding pictures, and again it was like, oh, they're eating here, they're drinking there, look at the newlyweds, they're doing this, they're doing that. And so I got feedback, from both sides on that, and so part of this was born out of
please.
um wanting to still share that, because it's a part of my life that I would like to have out there and
Right.
documented. But not everybody needs to see it. And the old adage of scroll on by, that never works, because everybody's got an opinion on something.
Hmm.
So it was like, well, maybe if we concentrated in this group and only the people who really want to see it can see it. And then Ed had this idea that, like, well, if people are really asking legitimately, and they were or are asking for our opinions on these places that we go and visit, why don't we just offer that? Give the people what they want,
Yes.
in a manner of speaking. So we started this group on Facebook, Li Waterside Dining Guide. Please go find it. Please come and find us and join us in
Yeah.
our merry adventures. And we kind of really quickly skyrocketed from, like, putting it out to a couple of friends and saying, hey, we've got this group, to the next thing you know, like, we had 270 members. It was like, oh,
Wow.
well, maybe we should, like, extend this over to Instagram. And so we did. And now some of the restaurants that we have mentioned are following us on Instagram.
Oh, that's really awesome.
It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. It's pretty
Yeah.
cool. And we are sort of lining up our calendars with what we're going to do this summer. So I am looking forward to having a break from rehearsals and performances so that we can go out and
And
enjoy
do
ourselves
hobbies and things
and
like
share
that.
that with people.
Right.
Yeah.
That's excellent. No, I'm excited to see about more things like that. Especially because last summer, I stayed home a lot because I had a rough 23. So like I didn't want to go out, I didn't want to really do anything. But now it's like, okay, I'm coming out of my hidey hole. Like, where am I going? Um,
Yeah.
excellent.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Well,
Long Island waterside dining, you said.
Waterside Dining Guide.
Guide.
Yep. And we abbreviated Long Island to LI. So don't, if you look for LONGISLAND, you might not find it. But
Not
if
gonna
you look
find
for
it.
LI Waterside Dining Guide, there we are.
The Huthers are keeping it simple.
That's it.
Well, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. This
Oh, this
was
was
an
great.
absolute blast. I knew that, like, when I saw that you were music directing this show, and I said, "Oh, that's very fun." I said, "I'd like to speak to somebody on the other side of things, and who would be more perfect to kick that off than with you." So, thank you
Thank
for the
you.
time. Can't wait to see it. So the performances are Saturday, May 11th. By the time this has come out, though, that would have already happened.
Yep.
But Saturday, May 11th, that's at 2 and 8.
2 and 8.
And then there's two more performances. Is that the Friday and the Sunday? Is that correct?
Saturday and Sunday.
Saturday, Sunday. So
Saturday
Saturday the 18th.
Yep.
And then Sunday the 19th. So Saturday's at 8, and I guess Sunday is at
2.
2. And that's at Star Playhouse over at the
Yes.
Y in Commack. I've never been there. So I'm
It's
excited to see
beautiful.
this venue too.
It's a beautiful space, and don't be confused by Star Playhouse. Used to be its own standalone Star Playhouse, and the Suffolk YJCC has a theater performing arts program called Stage 74. So Star Playhouse is actually part of that. So if you see it say Stage 74, it's the same thing.
That's where we're going.
Yep.
Okay. And where can people get tickets?
I believe it's. I should know the website. I should know this. I should know this. I believe it is stage74.org.
Okay. All right, I'll go take a look. Yeah, I've only seen on Instagram, so I never looked that far.
Hold on a second. I'm getting feedback from the other room. What is it? syjcc.org. Is there any slash? Is like a backslash anything? /stage-74. Okay, syjcc.com. Don't laugh at me. .org, excuse me. syjcc.org. I will get this right eventually. Star Playhouse people, I'm so sorry. syjcc.org /stage-74, the number 74. There you go.
And I will make a little thing come up on the bottom so that we can make sure it's seen. Yeah.
You can just put all 18 of them that I just listed.
At some point you'll find it. How bad do you want to see this show? That's excellent. Thank you so much again for hanging out with me today.
Oh, thank you for having
So
me.
good to see you.
Oh, love.
Thank you again to Ari for spending this time with me here on The Kyle Petty Show. Please go and support Into the Woods over at Star Playhouse in Commack for their final 2 performances, May 18th at 8 o'clock and Sunday, May 19th at 2 p.m. Thank you to everyone for watching, listening, and just supporting this project. You can find more on my Instagram at The Kyle Petty Show or on the website, thekylepettyshow.com. Thanks again for your love and support, and we're out of here. We'll see you soon.